Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Okay, I am particularly excited about today's video because I'm always excited about doing shoe reviews. But today we are reviewing, can't believe I'm trying to build it up. You've already seen the thumbnail. You know exactly what shoe I'm reviewing. I'm reviewing the Endorphin Speed 2. Definitely one of the biggest hype shoes of 2021. Based on the last iteration of this shoe, kind of proved itself to be a great all-rounder, definitely good for speed at a pretty solid price. And you've probably heard that the Endorphin Speed 2 isn't that much different from the Endorphin Speed last year. And you can get the Endorphin Speed for a little less than you can get this now. So because of that, I am listing both the Endorphin Speed and the Endorphin Speed 2 in the show notes below. I buy all my shoes from Jackrabbit. So if you do decide to buy an Endorphin Speed using my affiliate links, you don't pay any more. I just get a little commission, which helps support the channel. But that said, I didn't actually buy the Endorphin Speed last year. So I have been looking forward to this shoe for quite some time. And this is my first impression video. So right now, it's brand new. Oh, new shoe smell. Let's take it out for a run, see what it does. It's the best time of the video, guys. It's time for the shoe putting on montage. And if you've been here for any length of time, you know that whenever I get a new pair of shoes, I always like to get a new pair of socks. It's not always possible, but today I do have a pair of Swiftwick Vision. This is their National Park collection. I'm actually cracking open the Grand Canyon. Swiftwick are by far my favorite running socks. I have linked to them in the show notes below. If you're interested, check them out. Alright guys, back from the first run in the Endorphin Speed 2. Just like you would expect, these shoes performed exceedingly well. Today's run, the first run, 13.2 miles, an average pace of about 7:56 a mile. Now I say about because I've been trying to sync my watch and it looks like the worst case scenario has happened and my watch did not save the run. If it did, you'll find out in just a few seconds, but I've been trying to sync it to my phone. It's not syncing. I can't find the activity on my watch, but I'll plug it into the computer as soon as I get home. So I think I ran about an hour and 45 minutes. I know I ran 13.21 because I looked at that before I stopped the clock. So for now, we'll just say 7:56 average pace. Of course, that is 21.25 kilometers and the average pace is 4:56 a kilometer. You know what I can't wait for? I can't wait to go and put these on the scale and see how much they've gained with sweat because today's weather. It was actually a beautiful day. 76 degrees or 24.44 Celsius. Best part is that the feels like temperature was also 76 degrees. So earlier in the week, it was as high as 80 degrees with a feels like temperature of 88 degrees. That's 31 degrees Celsius at 4 in the morning. So 76 degrees or 24 Celsius is actually a beautiful day. Don't get me wrong, it's horribly humid and I am soaked with sweat. I don't know if you can see, sweat is just dripping off the brim of my hat. But let's get inside, let's talk some specs of the Endorphin Speed 2 and I will give you my thoughts on how it felt. Back in the studio and I was pretty happy when my run was downloaded to Strava from my watch. Pretty touch and go. Let me know in the comments if you would be stressed if you went for a run and it didn't automatically transfer to Strava. Onward, the Endorphin Speed 2. My first run in a shoe. It's always a gush fest. This is no different. This was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Let's run over some specs. We have 35.5 in the heel, 27.5 in the forefoot for an 8mm drop. Saucony claims that in men's size 9, the Endorphin Speed 2 comes in at 7.9 ounces or 224 grams. Now that's a 1/10 of an ounce heavier than last year's Endorphin Speed. I know it's only a 1/10 of an ounce. The Endorphin Speed weighed in at 7.8 ounces, but you're heading in the wrong direction, Saucony. But as you already know, I didn't run in the Endorphin Speed last year, so I don't have that to compare it to. This was an incredibly light shoe on my foot. And in my US size 13, UK size 12, this tipped the scale at 9.9 ounces or 280 grams. Under 10 ounces for a shoe in my size is is pretty impressive. Of course, I did gain a bit of weight after my run. There is no denying that all this material kind of soaks up the liquid. When I came back from my run, I threw this on our kitchen scale. Ew, I know. And it weighed in at 12.1 ounces. Or 344 grams. That's an increase of 20.5%. Now, of course, as soon as I get home, I put it out in the garage, I stuff it with newspaper, that soaks up all the sweat, and the garage is not air conditioned. And here in Florida, garage is as good as an oven, so it gets dry pretty quickly. And you might be shocked that the shoe gained 20% after a run. That's pretty normal for me. And the shoe, as we're gonna find out in just a few seconds, it's very light. So gaining that weight is actually pretty minimal compared to a daily trainer that has a lot more padding. As always, let's start at the top and work our way down. We have a lovely engineered mono mesh upper. That shouldn't be surprising to anyone. You don't need any more than one layer. And it probably would have gained a bit more weight if it had like a sandwich mesh. Before we go any further, what do you think of my choice of color? If the checkered flag was the only option, yes, I would have bought it, but I was very happy to see this gorgeous blue. And just so we're clear, the only changes that Saucony has made between the Endorphin Speed and the Endorphin Speed 2 is the upper. Saucony claims they have included non-slip laces. And yeah, I'd agree with that. Based on my one run, laces didn't slip. And really, you can't ask for any more than that. These are, like most laces, a lovely linguine shape. And that's all I have to say about that. The tongue, very comfortable, medium in thickness. It is gusseted, which I really have to stop saying that it's gusseted. Unless it's not gusseted, a non-gusseted tongue doesn't do anyone any favors. So for now, this is gusseted, you're welcome. The heel collar is nicely padded. It's kind of got like a textured material. It's not overly padded like a daily trainer. But what I'm getting at with the heel collar is that there's plenty of padding for it to be comfortable. It's not as thin as some of those shoes that are specifically made for racing. Moving down to the heel counter, yeah, we can feel this. There's a nice bit of plastic inside which makes it very rigid. Can't even push it. And overall, my heel was held in nicely cupped. I tied them once and I went out and I ran the 13 miles. My left foot, I did notice a little bit of heel slip. I think ultimately I could have stopped, I could have retied my laces, made the shoe just lock down a little more, but it wasn't bad enough for me to actually do that. The shoe still felt really good. I did just feel my heel on my left foot only moving around just slightly. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss my full review, which will come after at least 100 miles. And my friends, of course, if you like running shoes, if you like hearing about running shoes on YouTube, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. It means the world to me. It just tells YouTube, you know what, this is all right. Why don't you push it out to some more people that might find it interesting. We have the Saucony logo as an overlay right down the side. It's pretty minimal. I'm sure it gives some structure, but it's, you know, don't expect much from it. With that said, when I had the laces tied down, I did have a good lockdown across my midfoot. Okay, let's move on to the toe box because this is kind of important because I find that shoes that are made to go a little faster, race shoes perhaps, they have kind of like a racing fit. So they might be a little narrower in the toe box. Sometimes when I'm wearing those shoes, I can feel my little toe kind of pushing against the outside. This is one of the changes that Saucony has made from the Endorphin Speed to the Endorphin Speed 2. You've got a little extra room in the toe box. And these were wildly comfortable. I didn't even think about my toes on my entire run. Moving down to the midsole. This is where it's all about. Now this is unchanged from the Endorphin Speed. If it isn't broke, why fix it? Saucony didn't fix it. We have Power Run PB foam with a nylon plate sandwiched in between to give you that propulsion. The Endorphin Speed also uses Saucony's speed roll technology, which basically just kind of keeps you moving forward. Of course, a lot of shoes are incorporating that now. A gentle rocker to kind of keep you on your toes and move you in the right direction. This was not so pronounced that I actually noticed it while I was walking around. And I tried to notice it when I was running, but I didn't. So perhaps I'm used to that kind of technology now where it hasn't become something that I'm conscious of. The shoe performed exceedingly well. Okay, one more thing, the outsole. I've got a lot of exposed midsole right here with, well, the rubber is in all the right places, all the high abrasion areas. Clearly, by this abundance of rubber right on the front, you're supposed to be landed on your forefoot, but we can see here there's a big bit on the outside edge, and for those of us that occasionally heel strike, that's where we're generally going to strike it, so it's good that we have enough rubber here. The rubber isn't crazy thick. Obviously they want to save on weight. This is still a tempo, perhaps even a race day shoe. So the rubber isn't crazy thick, but right now I'm going to estimate that this shoe will last you maybe up to 400 miles, 350, 400. That's going to be my estimate right now. Of course, we'll reevaluate that during the full review when I put a little more miles, worn it down a little more. As of right now, can't see any wear right now, which after one run, that's what you want. Okay, I've already told you about how my heel fit on my left foot, probably due to user error, me not tying the shoe tight enough. But other than that, the shoe fit beautifully. It was very light on my foot, and yes, the shoe does like to go fast. Let me back it up a second. I did run 13 miles and I started off nice and easy. So my idea for this run was to get a good cross section of paces. Even though this is my initial review, I still wanted to give it a good test so I could tell you guys about it. So I started off nice and easy. Probably the first 6 miles were pretty slow, pretty easy pace. My heart rate was pretty low and I was thinking about the shoes. I had the camera with me. I was taking pictures as I was running easy. Then I decided to pick up the pace, and immediately when I picked up the pace, I did notice that they kind of felt better. But I don't want you to think that that takes away from anything of running easy. I didn't expect the shoe to feel good while I was logging easy miles, but it really did. And I hate to say it, but that has been my biggest surprise about this shoe. So after I did a couple miles, probably, well, not tempo pace, but you know, a harder effort, towards the end of my run, I did do some 30-second repeats just to kind of really pick up my pace, get my legs turning over so I could feel how these shoes felt at speed. And yeah, they felt great. They felt really good. Let's just go back to an easy run for a second, because that's kind of the nugget of what I want to tell you guys about this shoe right now. This shoe is actually a real contender for a daily trainer. And I'd like to hear what you guys think if you have run in either the Endorphin Speed or the Endorphin Speed 2. Would you take these out on an easy run? Now obviously I'm going to get a lot more experience in these shoes over the next 100 miles. I'm going to run a lot of easy miles in these shoes. So by that video, I'm going to be able to tell you conclusively if this is a daily trainer. But right now, after my first run, I am pretty impressed. I am obscenely impressed with this shoe. Keep in mind, this is only my first impression, but after my first run, I think I found a shoe, a great all-rounder that you can run easy and you can take it all the way to the races. This shoe is definitely ready to race. I don't want anyone getting stressed that they have to buy a race day carbon-plated shoe. Now, although a carbon-plated shoe is going to be a little more snappy, it's probably going to be built for racing, so it's going to be a little lighter. Don't stress if you don't want to buy a race day shoe. If you had to choose one shoe, this could be it. This runs easy and it runs fast. Guys, my name's Matt. I post new running videos at least twice a week. This has been my initial review of the Saucony Endorphin Speed 2. Be kind, be happy, run well. See you in a couple of days.